I feel like that could be a cool bot lane to kind of catch someone off guard if you're playing around that. You don't even need a strong bruise or anything. You just like you can just do like on in the top side if you want that strong support pairing, right?
I think Sion maybe makes more sense,
but you're a Sion hater, so that's why I didn't want to say it.
But I do think it's still probably the best tank after K'Sante being kind of useless.
I have a hope. I have a hope that, you know, G2 is often kind of known for insane picks in important moments.
Yeah.
They've kind of lost that.
They have been playing very boring champions so far.
Hold on. We've been doing some Yasuo drafts.
Yeah, but it looks pretty bad. So.
Yeah, that's fine.
In an arena, in a game 3 versus Fnatic is what I'm talking about. I'm holding out hope. That's just my little pepper and salt for this draft.
Oh, MF first pick for G2 here after 2 ADCs being taken out by Fnatic.
Oh my god, are we going to see Lulu on 3?
I mean, it would be cool to see maybe a Jarvan for the side of Fnatic here, because I do think maybe G2 will be forced to lock in a mobile.
I mean, if you go Jarvan here, then SkewMond can probably just go Poppy instead, and then you're still kind of fine with that. So
that's true, yeah. Like, I think Jarvan or Orianna could be definitely an option, but they might also just choose to go the Corki. Does have a very low overall win rate, but they actually go for the Nautilus instead.
That means Labrov still has his Leona, but historically, he hasn't been too fond of that champion compared to the other engaged supports. He's often skied away for it a little bit.
Despite the loss, Mikyx's Nautilus yesterday was one for the ages. It was great.
Yeah, it was good. And he has a very good Nautilus. I will still
Jack
say
can
that
say that firsthand.
Yeah, he fisted me on Nautilus.
My god.
Smart anchor.
Arena things. Corki.
Yeah, so probably going to be Corki bot lane here. I mean, Corki Nautilus, very strong lane. Probably going to be the Leona answer, I would presume, for side G2, like you speculated. And then maybe a jungle pickup for the side of G2. Could be a Pantheon. That's not bad, no? That's not bad.
I think Pantheon, the graphic, but
I think Pantheon here makes a lot of sense for G2. The only thing is you don't have this craziest wombo combo. Another pairing you see a lot with MF is the Lilia, because you can sleep them and then ult them with the MF. But you don't really have that many AD mids available, so I'd be surprised if they want to go for an AP jungler. But they could.
They could. Yeah. I'm still like Sejuani's here, but that's high Murtred's value as well. I mean, I think they might think about it. I like that.
Oh,
I like it.
Zyra.
Oh,
wow. So we have
you're going to have to fish a bit for some AD mid laners as well, going into the second ban phase. That's a risk. So I wonder how much Fnatic can shoot down in the second ban phase.
Champs that come to mind for me are Tristana, Lucian. We saw Nuke play that. But other than that, I'm not sure if there's that many AD mids that are really that strong right now. There's also the Yasuo that you could flex to the mid lane. But Yasuo in general right now, I think not the strongest.
But there's 3 of them available. There's Jace, Lucian, Tristana. So no matter what, he can
Jace is out.
He played in game 1. Right. Sorry, you're right.
And Pantheon taken from Fnatic here. I think these Fnatic 3 champs looking real strong right now.
Yeah, they're looking very nice.
Really curious to see what they'll be able to scramble up here on 4-5 for G2, because it's not obvious for me at all what they're going to end the competition with.
I don't even know. Like, what are we looking for at 4 here as well for Fnatic? Are we just blind picking Oscar, banning out? Yeah, it looks like that's what we're doing here. Now Bans comes through, and then save that R5 potentially for Humanoid.
I mean, they don't have the greatest tank killing possibility, so you could be looking for something like the Sion, especially with the Narban. Could also be looking for something like the Renekton, but you do get kind of kited by the Zyra and the plants.
I do really like him.
Silas or something?
Ooh, that would be nice as well, but they are also banning out. I mean, if you want to play Silas, you don't really want to ban now because you do want to steal that ultimate.
Yeah.
But I do really like with the Pantheon winning topside. It just makes the map so much easier to play.
I do think blinding mid makes a lot more sense, but they might be scared that Caps has something crazy up in his pocket there.
I'm hoping.
And they do decide to ban out the Tristana, which is the most like obvious AD mid that they could play.
All right, if it's not the Lucian, what other AD mid does he have available? You wanted a freaky pick, something that we don't see often.
I mean, Zed.
Call it what you want.
Zed could be an option.
Oh, that would be. But
did you say Zed or Zed?
Zed,
okay.
the assassin ninja.
Okay.
I do think he's not like he got a buff recently, and he's actually not that weak, but he's just always been pretty hard to pull off in competitive. This could be a Sion pick. I think especially now the Zed doesn't really make a whole lot of sense with 2 tanks on side of Fnatic.
Also just CC with point and click, like
point and click CC, not the best.
Yeah, you don't really like that.
Yes, I think you really want some DPS, further DPS for the side of G2, because MF doesn't love to play into tanks. She mostly relies on that wombo combo ultimate. So let's see what Caps has.
Dylan, we have to...
No way. This will be crazy.
That would be hype. That would be really, really hype.
Have we ever had outshone him? I think probably have, but that would be insane.
Ooh,
Okay, the boring topic, Aatrox, classic, really good into the tanks on the side of Fnatic. Well, let's see what Cap's got. I hope he could actually just lock in an AP mid, and the comp is not that bad.
No, you're right, it would be fine.
But I do hope he has some spicy AD pick, because I think their comp is much better if he plays an AD champion, because Merchand's value is pretty high against the Leona Zyra. Come on, Caps.
Yes,
No?
great.
What?
Wait. Is this Gragas mid or Aatrox mid?
This is Gragas mid lane, I think, because Gragas is not the best into Sion. Usually you pick tanks into the Gragas.
Hey, I was right. It was kind of spicy.
But that's a crazy blind pick.
That's a very strange blind pick. I'm not sure what the thought process is here behind this Gragas pick. Maybe this is some sort of... No way. Aurelion Sol. Wow.
That's becoming a humanoid classic at this point. He has been doing very well on this champion as well as of late.
What's this lane look like, guys?
I mean, so the idea between the I can't even speak. Around the A Sol is you're just picking it into this Gragas, hoping to freely scale up, and then you get to stack up, and eventually you'll become a complete monster. I don't know what the idea behind the Gragas is. I'm assuming it's to try to set up for this Zyra, try to move around the map, have priority, and playmate. So I think Caps really wants to try to snowball this game and try to end it before this ASO gets
Is there
too
any
dramatic.
direction we're missing, maybe, that they're specifically trying to counter on the side of Fnatic with the
I mean,
disruption?
Gragas and MF are very anti-synergetic because they push their
against each other. You disperse. No, stay together in a nice cone shape, please.
Yeah, so I'm not really seeing it, but maybe it's just something about the laning matchup or something inherently to the champion that Caps knows.
Listen, you main bots and you also main bots, so maybe you're not supposed to know.
Yeah, I mean, multiple. I'm in top lane right now. Going back to AD, you're right. I'm main bot, but I think the Gragas.
Glad we got that on record.
Yeah, well, you know, I was trying to brag, but I didn't want to do it anyway.
Anyways, nobody here knows what it's supposed to do. Perhaps our beautiful casters do, because they are very well educated.
We are indeed very well educated, and it's simple, friends. While most Gragases will totally ruin wombo combos, Caps is a master of mathematics. He knows the perfect angles, the trigonometry, the sines, the cos, the tan, the geometry as well. It's been a long time since I took math, believe it or not.
Every time someone says geometry, I just remember that 2.5 Men episode where Candy says geometry. And that's all that's in my head. And I think that's what Zyra says when she walks around.
Yeah, look at the callback. There will be an opportunity. So here we are, the final game of this incredible series for our match of the week between unexpected victors of day one, GX and MKOI. That one will be a banger. But this one has been pretty entertaining thus far. We are hoping for a closer game 3. Game 1 was the G2 show from start to finish, and game 2 just about the same for Fnatic.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see the Gragas brought out. I mean, the last time we saw it was for SkewMond in Winter Finals 2024, but that was like him being secret agent Gragas. It was fighting all these crazy flanks, and I think he actually won the game if I remember correctly, but getting into these really obscure positions to get flanks and set up for picks. But I don't know if that's exactly how this comp is going to operate for G2, but we'll have to see, because like the Gragas can have decent wave push. It can do okay in kind of disrupting fights. But as the desk was saying, like, you kind of want Fnatic to be grouped up. So unless you're hitting people back into the bullet time, I'm not entirely sure how this Gragas cast is going to work.
Nor am I, Rob, nor am I. Perhaps it's just a tool to protect SkewMond and Hansama. We do have double damage threats, right? We're not as used to seeing AP junglers on this patch as we were previously. So maybe just another BP chance to protect the front line as yet another hook connects from Mikyx. That's 2 in a row. First one hitting Labrov, second one hitting Hansama. You can see these trades, unsurprisingly, pretty close, but slightly in favor of the Corki Nautilus at level 1.
Yeah, it's the Gatling gun reducing armor makes these trades very much in favor of the Corki on the level 1. And even when you can get like the double tap and you've got decent damage, just base damages as the MF, but early barrier blown and you're still behind, whereas you still got the cleanse on the other side. So G2 have to be a little careful with how they play over the next couple of minutes.
That they do. Auto Q, not quite able to get that extra auto off as Labrov gone a bit too far forward. Forced to flash. Just the first 2 levels of lane phase. That is rough.
I think it's a good mind game from Upset though, because usually level the Phosphorus Bomb level 2 to get push and be able to trade effectively with it, but actually taking the Valkyrie level 2 meant that when Labrov went for the all-in, he just got dragged way further back, plus across the Valkyrie damage, which, again, base damage is relatively high, so forced to flash away, now on the reset, means that you kind of have to give up a lot of this control for G2 on the bottom lane.
Now a little bit more pressure on SkewMond to at least be around the bottom side of the map. With that flash down, the barrier for Hansama down as well. What is his focus going to be? Hans, wrap around here. Will spot Mikyx, but perhaps too late. Oh, it's a perfect predict! He's living in his head! He doesn't even pay rent! Oh my god!
Mikyx, that was sick! I mean, look! He played with Hansama for a good old while. He knows this man inside and out and just showed it right there.
We were too focused on math. We didn't think enough about reading proficiency, my man.
It's the psychology of the situation.
Psychology. That was an incredible start to the game. Excellent read from Mikyx, bringing life back into the audience as we have a rinse and repeat here in the mid lane. Caps, nice body slam actually gets him out. Slow coming in from the cast, but Razork happy to pick up the follow-up kill. And a disastrous start for G2.
I was surprised that Caps went in with the body slam. Like, SkewMond maybe could have flashed over, but it looked like there wasn't communication there. Razork now in trouble, though.
Razork caught out, doesn't have the Aegis Assault still for another second. Ignite ticking. Labrov still has that after the previous play. Aegis Assault there, and it's too late. Nice response kill from G2.
Nice roam from Labrov. Wasn't really needed in bot lane. His Hansama was only making his way back, so you do get something back. But I thought Caps would just body slam away, get away from the position, and SkewMond can then lock up with the E, but not the case, and at least it's something back for Fnatic, but still a kill over towards the Pantheon nice and early.
Definitely so. You can see TPs both used from the top laners to reset on the bottom side of the map. Both teams, it's almost, it's like a, you know, they've done this dance. They know the steps to the waltz. They're no strangers to the 1-2-3, 1-2-3 of TPing your top laners down bot, sending your bot lanes up top, just in time for grub spawns. That said, it was Hansama getting there second, so upset first push in the lane. Does make things a little bit more awkward as the rest of the map pretty comfortable for Fnatic.
It's also like, sure, there's 4 CS there for Hansama to pick up, but losing that kill, he's more than 14 CS behind, so even if he picks up all these, still a 10 CS difference already for upset. And especially in a matchup which is very much about trying to bully out in the early stages, that'll be helpful, although losing half your health bar, not the best of trades for upset.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is the double tap, as well as the quick MFQ, just makes short trades at the very least pretty favorable. Even despite the initial deficit, an extra longsword there for upset in exchange for the tier and boots. Or, excuse me, for Hansama, in exchange for tier and boots on upset. Humanoid still just sitting pretty in the mid lane. Once SkewMond is around, you can see the angle where there's good gank setup onto Aurelion Sol, but Razork and Mikyx are there first, as long as they respect the pressure here from G2.
Yeah, this was one of the things I was curious about with the Gragas, because a while ago he was changed where he just has less inbuilt sustain to his passive. Yeah. And it was one of the reasons we actually saw him fall out of some of the matchups that he was doing well in the top side. And I was curious, like, does he still just have enough to deal with some of the poke and push coming through from a ranged mid laner? And it kind of feels a little like the answer's no. Like, you're not exactly running away with the damage you picked up on Humanoid, but he's still kind of putting Caps into an awkward spot where he's losing a lot of the pressure and is struggling to contest some of these wave states. Already a 10 CS lead opened up in the mid lane. Like, I'm still waiting to see what value this blind Gragas was supposed to add.
And I imagine it does get easier. I assume it will be Roa first once you get that catalyst just to survive in lane, right? Because you highlighted Happy Hour, the cooldown got nerfed, the percentage health it heals got nerfed just because it was essentially just infinite sustain, almost like a third of a health pot every 8 seconds just for existing in lane is...
For doing what you wanted to do, abilities.
Yeah, push your buttons. Yeah, it feels pretty good. And we'll regain some of that when he manages to pick up the catalyst. But for now, Humanoid sitting pretty. 48 stacks, not bad. And this is what you mentioned when we saw the pick locked in, right? Easy way to stack. Comfortable lane is upset now a little bit less comfortable until his support arrives. And SkewMond, while Zyra was the early prio and does have the kill, we haven't seen it do too much yet. Upset locked up, but Pantheon is here. Hansama finding out quickly where that spear can go. Labrov running now for his life. The plant's not enough to dissuade the play here. And again, a situation where Fnatic finding the angles to make these ones happen. Humanoid on the way in just manages to find a little bit more damage as Mikyx claims the kill.
The Ignite managing to tick over there and pick off Labrov, but That's a little bit upsetting. If you're G2, you thought you were going to be able to turn that play around. They were kind of baiting Fnatic in, but didn't realize that Razork had level 6 and was already in the vicinity. Good turnaround from Fnatic.
Definitely was. Momentum continues to be in their favor. Broken Blade now trying to fire back, however. Q3, Otto doesn't quite have the Deathbringer stance back, so can't finish the kill. Frustrating for BB now. Flashless, and Razork is here. Decimating Smash. Broken Blade, no ulti, no flash.
So much healing off the pot and the biscuits, though. It feels a bit doomed.
Unstoppable. Q charge, but will not connect. Razork there. Yeah, Broken Blade should just fall here. One more auto. Razork has flash as well. BB will try to get a kill back. Nice Umbral dash. Glides out, hits the Q3. Mikyx's here as well. Fnatic feel like they're everywhere on the map. Mikyx almost gets another one, but this time gives it over to Razork. And while Hansama is free hitting the bottom tower, Fnatic are getting kill after kill after kill. But now they want to make a play happen in the mid lane. Labrov looking for the fall. Humanoid flashing out. The Zenith Blade just can't hit. It hits his big old tail, but it's technically not a part of the hitbox.
No hitbox and no luck for G2. Mikyx now standing in the mid lane to make sure that it'll all go smoothly now for Humanoid. G2 feel like they just can't get anything, although with SkewMond coming, maybe they can.
Star called down. Mikyx interrupting. Mikyx very likely to die here. Looking for the hook out to safety, but everyone's stepping up to body block. Pull back there. Damage coming through. Mikyx will fall. Good response from G2 to at least get something back.
And desperately needed as well. 2 kills on the AD carry of Fnatic and the jungle. They needed something to start going their way. It looks like it will be the mid jungle that G2 are going to need to try and continue to play through, because at this point, Fnatic still with a 1k gold lead, just coming up to the 10-minute mark.
Not a bad position to be in, but the Aatrox will get more and more terrifying as this game progresses. Other than the Aurelion Sol, everyone else doing mostly physical damage. Soul Furnace from the Sion. The W is going to do a bit of magic. Otherwise, pretty easy game in terms of itemization as we have another pause. How are Fnatic allowed to do it? They did it and they won game 2, and now game 3, there's been another pause. From who, we don't know.
What did Mikyx buy this game?
He's not 07 on Nautilus, and League officials are suspicious. They must check his PC. No, I have no idea what the pause is. We'll, of course, give you official updates as we know more. In the meantime, loving the energy here in Madrid. Only getting higher and higher as the day has progressed. A little bit, it was chill at the start of the day. You know, they're easing in.
It is cool to see it packed out, though, because it's a fairly sizable stadium. I think 9,000 was the number that I heard yesterday for the amount of people that are there, which is just insane.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm going to say that sounds like a good number. Make it 10. Just 10,000
just
people.
round it out, yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah. I don't know. How the people watching don't know. A little fake info. Could be more, could be less.
I mean, I'm seeing at least 100,000 people on the screen.
Yeah, if you're not there to count in person, can I really take your word for it? So, reminder, Madrid, I think pre-registration happened today. We saw that earlier from the analyst desk who wait this. So if you are keen to get Madrid tickets, they're not on sale yet, but you can pre-register for those tickets now. Good opportunity to do so. You could be experiencing something like this, but instead of it being, you know, a regular season best of 3 with stakes, but not the craziest stakes, it could be some sort of do or die best of 5 matchup, which will be pretty sick. We're about to resume. Fnatic did initiate the pause. They have invoked. This is a testament to how strong G2 are as opposition, that Fnatic had to invoke the sacred powers of their organization. 2 sacred powers. 1, the Fnatic pause hack. 2, the chokey choke.
Yeah, but just like in D&D, you only get 2 of them a day.
Yep.
So you've kind of run out of them now. So they have to wait for a long rest, or
yeah, they really do need the long rest.
Yeah. I don't think short rest gives it back to you. I'll have to read the
I have to read the patch notes. Have to check with Larian. Caps hasn't used his GOAT superpower yet either, and he is playing a weird champion, so it now does seem like the time. But we'll have to see as the mid-game unfolds. Where's my LEC collectible card game? That's all I'm saying. It wouldn't be off topic if we found a way to make it on topic.
Yeah, I mean, getting like a shiny Caps card, it kind of cool.
Shiny Caps?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Limited edition 1 of 1 shiny Caps.
Yeah. It's just him playing Vayne.
Yeah, I don't know if they had to go Gragas, but I'm ready to see what it can do in the fights.
See, If I hadn't seen a pick blind,
yeah,
I'd be like jumping into the, oh my god, it's this and this matchup in these positions. But now they're in a bad position.
Bob finds quick pick, forces the flash out from Mikyx at the very least. Razork caught up, forced to use an early ADC Sol, which means he's incredibly vulnerable. Ulti now coming from Mikyx off to the side. They're trying to burn through SkewMond as fast as they can. Hansama versus Upset. In the meantime, Labrov running for the hills. He cannot finish off, but Cap's already found Razork. Body slam into the face of a dragon. He does not give a damn. The star's falling though. Oh, and he's spitting on fire. He's winning the freestyle battle. Humanoid double kill.
Humanoid got left to his lonesome on the top side against Labrov and is able to churn through the health bars. Fnatic again coming out on top in these early skirmishes, and G2 left wanting.
Managed to get a little something, but it's not enough. 2.3k gold lead. Broken Blade continues to be dominant in this 1v1 matchup, but Sion just clears the waves so well that BB can't really mitigate the gold deficit that they're in.
I will say, the last time BB played Aatrox into Sion went pretty well. This time needs to go better.
World Ender, sidestep, Q through, Decimating Smash is there. Oh, there's just nowhere for him to go. Healing?
Heal!
Okay, not enough. Sundered Sky, that might have been a different story, but Broken Blade will go down, and this is the power of the semi-global of the Pantheon. SkewMond does respond. Will get, it looks like all 6 grubs, which is big for G2, but I don't know if it's going to matter.
Yeah, again, G2 trying to force the play here, thinking, okay, we've got control here for Hansama to move into position, but it just does not work out. Like, no real follow-up onto Razork at the back of the play. Labrov gets left as lonesome against Humanoid on the bottom side of the fight as well. Upset going toe-to-toe. Oh, hang on.
Mikyx backstep. Humanoid winning over the wall, but surely the Nautilus just dies here. 1 kill picked up. Knockup going to follow as well to stop Humanoid from chasing. The TP is there from Oscar.
And Upset's on the way.
A little bit too late. Body slam onto Upset. Slow there. Perfectly layered CC. The fall damage not quite there, though. He retreats back into his team. Cash knocking Upset back into the combo. That's what they were looking for, but they don't have the damage to finish it. Labrov running. Hansama without an ult. And down goes Labrov.
G2 constantly trying to force these plays.
Not done. Caps running. The sky's descending. Nature itself stacked against
the burn.
him.
Blackfire Torch?
Blackfire. There's no way Blackfire Torch.
No. I got excited.
Have it. Caps. Oscar. Okay. He's recalling. He can just take a drinky poo if he needs an extra 5% of his HP, but he won't, and he will return. This is getting rough.
Yeah.
Humanoid 3-0-3. Like, Aurelion Sol is not a champion we see people do things on very often. Usually it's a sit quietly kind of champion. It is a very bad sign when this champion participates.
That's what I was going to say, though. Look at, like, when you look at the champions that are on G2's side, you think, oh, skirmishes will inevitably go our way. This is going to be fantastic. But they have just not been in position all at once to try and follow up. So they get the initial play here on towards Mikyx, which is really nice. But they end up using a huge of it, like the Zyra ult and the Leona ult to make that play happen. And then it's Fnatic come into this, which is still a 3v3. You don't really have the lockup to chain for Upset. It's a good cleanse immediately onto the lockdown from Zyra as well. But then they're just able to follow up, and this is why Sion is so strong. Like, that beefy front line that just does not die, being able to buy so much space, so you can't really follow up onto Upset who's so low.
Yeah, and Humanoid just continues to stack, continues to scale. You can see that the CC is plentiful for G2 on this lineup, but the damage lagging a little bit behind. First out of Bloodthirst for Hansama means that he's safer than he would be, able to sustain against a lot of the poke that a Corki will bring. We'll need a few more items to really match in that raw damage potential. G2 full setup on the top side to defend this tier 1 tower. Bot lane Oscar clearing the wave. Fnatic just gonna respect it. Again, job's not done. Still need to see that discipline from Fnatic. As much as we, in moments where they've already had a good early game, want to look at the mid games where they've also done well. Fnatic, a team known to be overeager, known to falter. But rinsing and repeating is the name of the game right now as they try to find another bot side play. TP coming in from Caps. Broken Blade a lot more healing now that the Sundered Sky is there. So they'll protect the tower at the cost of the TP. Excuse me, the cost of the ultis, but they get Caps' TP out as well.
A lot of members of G2 in towards the mid lane and actually starting to roam down towards bot, so I don't think G2 have given up on this tower yet.
Broken Blade continuing to step up. Infernal Chains won't quite match. Caps taking down the tower. Broken Blade healing. Flash forward from Razork to get out of the solar flare. Aegis assault there just in time. Q pulled back. Razork getting lower though. Ticking. Ignited. Still trying to find healing. He's got a Sundered Sky of his own, and now he's scooting his boot out of there. Does not want anything to do with that fight. Will fall here in a moment. Gets a bit of healing back in the meantime. Shut down to SkewMond. Scrappy fight in the bottom lane. But Humanoid still just pushing away.
I never thought that Razork was going to kill BB on the back of that fight. I assumed that was going to be the kill, and you could even see Caps thinking the same thing as he threw that ult in to try and finish off and pull Oscarinin back out from underneath the tower. But G2 fishing for too much means that Fnatic end up with the 1-for-1. Initially, it's a good play. You've got to push it mid, transition Labrov and Labrov and Hansaman at the bottom side. But Razork flashes in, and then at this stage, like, Caps is considering, hey, Razork is dead. I'm going to move on. But Razork steps forward out of the sweet spot and then gets that Thunder Sky proc, which means he's able to survive. Just barely executes Aatrox with that Q damage. And it's a bit of a mess for G2 again.
Yeah. Again, the initial vision, they get the tower. Think that they have the angle, but this is one of the reasons we see Pantheon be so impactful, right? Semi-global presence, the immunity to damage, that paired with Sundered Sky, which it's not Gore Drinker, but it gets pretty close in a lot of these fights and a lot of these moments where you can just heal so much back up, especially those low thresholds. Broken Blade potentially caught out here. Aurelion Sol.
Riley's finished.
Rylai's is there, additional slow going in. Flash forward from BB though, he wants to turn this back, flash out from Humanoid in the meantime. Stranglethorns are there, decent damage onto Broken Blade, but he's fine thus far. Powered spear shot, not gonna hit. In the meantime, Hansama's running for his life because he's caught in a 1v1 with a very angry Lumberjack who's gonna hit the Q3. Labrov is here too, but he's unstoppable. I don't even know if Locket's gonna be enough. They call the power of the sun down upon him. But he's Hugh Jackman out there in the wilderness.
He's a Lumberjack, he's used to being in the sun.
This is what Monty Python wrote the song about. He's okay. He works all night, he sleeps all day, walks out of ganks, eats his lunch. I've never been impressed by a Sion, but it does feel very impactful here. That said, he cannot fight 3 people in a horde of Void Might, so he will give up the tower.
How dare you? 3 people can't fight him.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Razork will grab a Drake in the meantime, but G2, good look. They get the tower, they're now set up. Top prio, in control of this Herald. A nice way to try to get things back in their control as Caps now looking for an angle about side. Body slam, flash, laying down the cast. Good damage and a shutdown to close it out. Humanoid not respecting the Gragas E-flash.
Didn't realize that G2 would even be making a play on the bottom side because everyone was seen on that top half of the map, but disrespects what Caps can do, and Caps shows him what it's worth. Immediately being able to pick up the shutdown is crucial as well, because at this stage, Gragas, you have the Rod of Ages, you still want to be able to finish off the second item and have like these big impactful casts, and Lichbane going to be the next one, so auto attack's about to hurt from this Gragas.
And he's going to be fast. Swifties, Lichbane, this man is zooming. I will say, 4-2-1 for Caps, picks like that on the side lane, getting that extra money. It's the way for G2 back in. We were looking at like a 3K gold lead just a couple minutes ago. Now it's down to 1.5. It is soul point for Fnatic, but the good news for G2 is it's Chem Soul. It does make Razork much, much scarier, but otherwise I don't think they're too concerned.
I think the worry for G2 is the fact that even though you got the shutdown, it's still going to be a 3-item Aurelion Sol very soon, which is just absolutely absurd. Plus the Grand Skyfall going to be coming through. You're starting to tick up towards those higher levels as well, where that's going to hurt, but they're trying to focus him now.
For the angle. Oh, Mikyx spots him. The rest of the team is behind him though, so G2 don't want to overcommit, which makes sense. SkewMond on the way though. Mikyx may be forced to flash out of the pit. Humanoid here as well. Body slam. Nice sidestep going in. Slow down. Knock back to the wall on the Humanoid, but it just doesn't matter. Cap's now locked up in the meantime. Humanoid throwing down an ulti of his. The skies once again descending. Labrov taking out Fnatic, routing G2 in that instance, but Humanoid wants to keep chasing. This is a bit crazy, but Humanoid is nothing if not crazy. Hansama flashes in, ultis to get a kill back. Cap still standing, SkewMond running, Razork not taking any damage, courtesy of the Aegis Assault. Cap tries to make it the impossible possible, but it does not happen. Shutdown comes through, and Oscar just continues his assault in the mid lane.
Humanoid thought a dragon versus a pirate, and he liked those odds, but misjudged it a little bit. Still wins the fight for Fnatic, and with mid-tower and Adakan going across, plus that Leandri's Anguish now finished, I think Humanoid's going to be smiling all the way to the bank.
Going to be feeling good about that one. You said it, 3 items, this terrifying dragon. He's already stepping so far forward. And here's how it starts.
Yeah, you can see good sidestep from Humanoid, but also the cast doesn't push Humanoid back into the solar flare. And at this stage, then Humanoid is fine. And then a 3v4, Disguise Descend cripples G2 in this play, and they have to all but run away. Now, Hansama ends up getting the brunt of the damage, but Love Tap and the BT definitely helping out as he just opens up with the ultimate to make sure that he can finish off Humanoid, and they will finish off Caps on the way out too for Fnatic.
Overall, Fnatic, those leads really paying off, and again, this is the power of their champions. The Gragas, we mentioned it, it's not perfectly coordinated. In that case, it wasn't. The Gragas, big anti-synergy with these ults. It's a lazy point, you know what I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I think. But it does matter. If you're drafting a comp, it's all about putting people in a very tiny circle. You don't want a champ who's going to make that worse. Is now Sion just keeps running, but he will not find the connection. Still the ulti going in from Humanoid, an extra 15 stack. Strangle Thorns down, double knockup. Carries rooted. Razork trying to jump back in. Stop Broken Blade from getting on his backline, and he will be successful. 1 for 1, 2 for 1 overall in favor of Fnatic as Humanoid drops at the cost of BB and Labrov's lives.
Yeah, there is so much CC for this Aatrox. It is impossible for him to really get access onto the backline. He gives his life to get Humanoids, but Fnatic once more coming out on top in the fight. And it's just spreading the love now. 5-0-5 for upset. Oscarinin continuing to push on this bottom side. And this is again why I think Sion is undervalued in our league. The ability, even though he misses his ultimate entirely, he just takes G2 and separates the fight completely. So then it's just, okay, deal with the squishier front line of G2, and then we can continue on. And you'll see it in this fight as this is Mikyx going in. Does end up a little bit too far, but you've already got the setup from Humanoid to just try and separate out Labrov. It goes in onto the back line. Oscarinin misses, but he's just pulling SkewMond back. He's pulling Caps. Can't really follow up as either. And then it's just deal with the front line as you start to walk through.
And even Broken Blade, right? Pretty powerful in the context of this game, despite 0-4-2 being his scoreline. It doesn't matter because the rest of his team just can't get involved in the fight. So hard for G2 to play this out. The zone control from the Sion, like you mentioned. The Nautilus. The stars coming down from Humanoid. Tricky one to play out. Herald summoned. Slowed up by the Aurelion Sol. And now the call is collapse onto Broken Blade, but who's getting collapsed on? First, just the tower charge. Fnatic retreating. Again, 8 seconds. Tell Chemsol. G2 trying to treat tempo in the mid lane. Get one wave pushed in, mid lane will be relatively even. Bot wave pushing in Fnatic's favor. Broken Blade doesn't really have anywhere to go. Needs the rest of the team to be ready if Fnatic overcommit on the flank. Sol point in the eyes of Fnatic, but they want the kills first. They don't want to flip it. SkewMond still standing. No flash for Labrov, no flash for Hansama. Crucially, Humanoid still has his. Set also flashless. If there was a time for G2 to find the combo, the time is now. Broken Blade, again on the flank. Eyes on Caps. G2 have a bit of time before they pull the trigger. When will they go? They spot Broken Blade. Retreat now going in. They want to collapse on the flanker. All of Fnatic turning back. G2 trying to prioritize, trying to move in. Work with the space gained here. Bit of damage down onto Oscar. Ulti down for the Leona. TP coming in as well. Broken Blade regrouping for the full 5v5. Mikyx manages to find the hook onto Caps. Knockup going into Hansama and onto Broken Blade. The damage is there, but Hansama is firing back. The Strangle Thorns combined with the MF Bolt. Is it going to be enough? Ulti back from Humanoid. Breathing light into G2. Fnatic holding on. Gatling gun. Pushing in, looking for a few more rockets. Dashes into the midst of the fight, but might just give his life. Hansama taking out. He kicking the auto down. SkewMond burned by the Leandries, by the Black Fire, and the Dragon will go to Fnatic.
Oscarinin, I don't think you win this against Broken Blade. BB should be able to chop him down as he stands, although the rest of Fnatic, here comes the ultimate from Razork.
He doesn't have time to win it, and that's the problem, but he tries to style. It's just not enough. Humanoid puts him under the threshold. The black hole does the rest.
And it's a very split out fight, but Mikyx landing the hook here onto Caps. Caps flashes forward to try and make something happen, but at the bullet time, shreds through Fnatic. But again, Oscarinin stays standing and gives the front line with this beautiful ultimate from Humanoid, hitting onto everyone left standing on G2. And at that stage, it's Fnatic running through everyone that they can to finish off anyone left standing.
I mean, SkewMond connected on the roots, on the way out, on the ulti. It just wasn't enough. Fnatic too powerful at this point in the game, now empowered by a Chemtech Sol. Razork was already feeling unkillable with just a Sundered Sky. It's not getting any easier.
And this is the thing, a lot of the champions that we look at on G2 side are SkewMond wants to be played into. Caps honestly kind of wants to be played into as well, so we can split up the fight, and even to a certain extent Hansama with the ultimate, but Fnatic constantly spreading out into multiple different areas of attack. Being able to have Humanoid attack from a very, very far range, especially now with the level 16 just being ticked over to, that ultimate is going to hurt. And G2 just can't really set up the fight in the manner that they want to.
No, they can't. So instead, they'll try to force something in the mid lane. Nice combo going in. Cast to knock back. Stun is there. Humanoid knows that he's been taken down. Excellent pick from G2 mid lane as Caps takes that one.
The bases get tatters though. Fnatic, they don't really care. They're just going to keep going. A reset from Razork though means that these three members of Fnatic
stepping behind. Still kept the Banshees. A little bit of extra damage. And you can see, even as they're retreating, the poke that they're laying down is so much to deal with. TP there. G2, if they can win this fight, they've got a chance to come back to this game. Caps, body slam forward, lays down the cask, a little bit of extra slow. Razork face first into the enemy team, trying to buy space for the rest of the lineup. Running now, knows that he's done for. Turns back on Hansama though, bit of extra healing coming in. Not enough to keep him standing though. ADC Sol won't come up in time. Shut down onto Razork. G2 weathering the storm of the Baron by being aggressive.
They will get 2 picks, but that top inhibitor falls down. I thought to make a rain from Hansama maybe had slowed Fnatic enough for Labrov to close the distance, but it just wasn't quite enough. And still, I think you're okay as Fnatic. You still have a 7k gold lead. You still have Sol. You have still cracked open the base of G2. And a couple of picks aren't really going to stop that.
It's very true. I mean, the gold lead is still disgusting. They have the Otacon on top of the numerous objectives and now the Sol that they have, which means it's that much harder for G2 to finish those kills, right? Chemtech, no one's first choice, but even in a game like this where so much is in those initial cooldowns, if you be caught, gonna poke there, we'll be able to walk away. It's tough for G2. I like the look mid lane. You see the signs of greatness for G2, those angles that they managed to find with creative picks like this, but it's just a little bit too late in this game. And it's not balancing out what was a very rough early game, a very rough lane phase for a pick like this Gragas.
Yeah. And a loss here will put them at 3-3, sitting base in the middle of the pack with BDS, Movistar, Koi. You still yet to play Heretics in there as well, playing tomorrow. Not exactly where G2 would have liked to have been. Well, a little bit over the halfway mark through spring.
And if we had just come off a split that they won, like they had every single split in 2024, we would give them that benefit of the doubt. So now you start to raise the question that's rarely raised with how dominant G2 has been as an organization. Do they still have it? Do they still have what it takes to be #1 when the pressure is on? This is just a single best of 3, but it's a question we'll come back to as the split progresses.
Whereas for Fnatic, I mean, game 1, little ropey, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
but 2 and 3?
2 and 3
have been good.
Yeah.
Like, this has been clean. It has been good skirmishing. It has been reacting quicker than G2, being in the positions that you need to, and it has really put the hurt onto G2, and now they're taking this slow once more. They have value in the super creeps on that top side. Let the super creeps do the work. Having Oscarinin push in mid so you can group as 4 on the bottom side. Not letting G2 find that pick like they just did onto Humanoid. Keeping those crucial carries together to keep them safe. And G2 now, sure, will make it a little bit outside of base as the pressure's let up from Fnatic, but it's just to look for this Elder Dragon in a minute and a half.
And you can see how little space G2 control. Caps, so many players would have walked up to take that wave. Our observer is beautifully highlighting that he doesn't. He waits until it pushes more into him because he doesn't want to risk being the one to get picked out before a fight. He knows that if he goes down, if that Elder goes down, then might just be all hope lost here for G2 in this best of 3. And remember, for both of these teams, they lost yesterday, right? And there's one thing, if you lose day 1, you come back, you win game, or your second series against a title contender, you can kind of laugh it off, like, hey, look at oopsie, but a good weekend overall. If you lose both,
it's not a good look. And the fact as well that you've got all these items now starting to be complete on Fnatic's side only makes that so much worse. Like, you're very close to void staff for Humanoid. The Last Whisper has just been picked up by Upset as well, giving him some of that armor pen. And even though you don't have anyone that's particularly tanky on the side of G2, it still is going to help with just that the armor you get naturally through those levels. Fnatic hurt and hit like a truck, and G2 need to find some way to keep them at bay.
That they do. 17 seconds till the Elder. That's as good a time as any to not remember how the graphics tablet works. Never mind. Hold that thought. Game going in. Mikyx finding the engage. Humanoid ready to respond. Hasn't ulted quite yet. Perfect catch in the middle of the lane. G2's bot lane gone in the blink of an eye. SkewMond next. Caps and BB. All that stands between Fnatic and victory.
And I don't, like, Fnatic oh wait, TP behind?
TP behind.
Caps, he wanted the
Caps
wave.
clearing the wave. Alting, knocking back, decent damage onto Upset, but he's just not taking it, but he manages to live. Is that enough time? 34 seconds, 29 seconds, there's no way. Surely Fnatic still end it.
Oscarinin can just tank it. Look at his items. He's not, like, he's probably going to heal off of this tower, to be perfectly honest. They don't need the wave. They've got an undead war machine at the front.
5 seconds to Labrov. Ulti there. Fnatic on the march to victory. They couldn't find it day one, but it looks like they will find it against G2. Broken Blade and Labrov, the last two left standing, but Broken Blade will fall. Labrov will fall. Hansama is finally arrived, but it's just too late. A triple kill for the Pantheon. It looks like they want to beat him the Quadra, maybe even the Penta, but Upset won't let it happen. Fnatic in Madrid take down G2. And what do we have left to say? An incredible moment.